Okay, hi guys. So this is Stars Dab, and this is one of my first videos of many more. But with the whole AI thing being really crazy as it is, I feel like it's time for us artists to actually, as a community, try and look out for each other. So I put together a little document just to kind of help all artists to kind of have an idea of what they can do to protect their art from stealing, from AI scraping their art and people posting, like stealing your art and putting it in AI without your permission. And anything without consent is bad. All right. You always need to have consent. So in this day and age, I feel like we as artists should come together as a community to try and help each other to figure out a way how to protect our community from AI and from like people stealing our stuff. I decided to try and make a little document on it so we can all just kind of be on the same page because I feel like it's important, especially now in the AI era. We definitely need to really come together as a community and really try and reinforce the protection of our art. I'll leave the PDF file in the description below. So if anyone's interested, you can use it as a way of like guiding yourself. But I decided to make a video just as a rundown. Number one, and the one that we all know, is doing watermark for your art. Now, doing watermark for your art can be in a number of ways, right? You could do it in a normal text, right? A normal text, you can do normal text and you play with the opacity in Photoshop or whatever art tool that you're using or software. It's very easy to do. You can simply type what you want, your name, the year, etc., and you control the opacity of which how transparent you want your watermark to be. You can also do this in a logo form where maybe you don't want to use your handle. Maybe you're going more for a branding way. So if you're going more for branding, like so for instance, you maybe have a heart for your logo, for example, maybe something really cool and you want to use it, it would follow the same pattern of just putting it on your image, and then you can play with the opacity or maybe use the blending mode to come up with something else so that it doesn't really overwhelm the image and could just be more transparent or see-through in some way with the blending mode that offers that kind of variation. The other one is you could do titles, like title or repeated watermarks, where it's just like maybe your name being repeated numerous times, or you use like geometric shapes and stuff like that to just like put on your images. A lot of stock photos do this a lot. If you go on their website, they do have the title one where it's just like grids of the person's name or lines or something like that. That's like trying to avoid people from stealing the artwork or stealing the photo that's there. Obviously there's ways around it, but that is generally the way, one of the simple ways to do it. Another one is pattern, and the difference between pattern and title is honestly just a matter of aesthetics, because pattern, you could simply do this in Photoshop as well. If you go to the pattern stamp in the tool section, then you could just like simply create a new pattern, and that would be something that you can come up with on your own, and you can do this in a different file and then you'll save it. If you want an example how to do this, I could make a video on the side, but for the time being, yeah, you just simply do a pattern. It could just be like maybe a consistent rows of flowers design, or like butterflies, anything that you want to do, something that you know that would be your own and your identity for your art. And you have border, which is normally just simple like how you frame an artwork, but this is digitally. So you just put like paint bucket the image in a layer, and then simply just delete the inside and then type your name at the bottom with all the information that you want. And then the only issue with this type of watermark is, of course, you can simply crop out. Like many of them, you can crop out. So sometimes it's better to just do your logo vertically because vertical is kind of harder to get rid of. And I will normally recommend doing your logo vertically, or maybe you put your logo more in the center than at the edge. Like, I know you don't want to like put your handle or the watermark or the copyright everything to be on your image yourself, your artwork, but honestly, and it's worth it, because at the end of the day you have the original artwork, so it doesn't matter if it has a big watermark on it, right? If somebody really wants to see the original artwork, you can link them to maybe your website or something like that, something that it's more personal to you, that you don't have it on the internet blatantly for anybody to just simply just copy and paste, or to save, right click and save it. So those are a few that you could do. And then also there are websites you can use to help you to come up with a watermark. If you don't have access to tools like Photoshop or Clip Studio, there are online tools like Canva. Canva is very helpful in you just simply creating something as an opacity, and you can pay. They normally have a 30-day trial as well that allow you free to get transparent images. Just remember to cancel it, because otherwise you have to pay. But 30 days, they normally give you more than one time to try their plan, so you could do that. Those are some of the few things that I recommended, to be honest. Like, I mean, I still do the typical just logo slash text signature at the end of the corner of my images. But for the going forward, I'm planning to add more stuff, especially stuff that says like prohibited AI from using my artwork, because in this day and age, like, listen, if you're gonna steal my you're gonna work for it. That's what I think. So I think we should all be on the same page with that. Don't you think so? So let's move forward. So the next one would be, another way you can do it is simply like type in no AI tags in your images. Hashtags like no AI, stuff like that would actually help to just deter people, and just have your images not just so easily stolen. It definitely also keeps your art in on the right, like in the right group that you want it to be, instead of somewhere else. It doesn't necessarily stop you from stealing your artwork, but those are things you can simply do. And especially like type in the information in your image itself. So you can do this in Photoshop, where you simply go to files, then info, image info. You can simply type in all the information that you need, so you can add to that art. That way, if anybody looks at the detailed description of the art, they will always see that you have your name there. It's copyright. It says no AI use. Those are things that deter people from seeing your art. Not necessarily AI from scraping your art, but it deter people from stealing your art and uploading it, because everybody's kind of scared of like being sued or something. For the most part, like, it's not gonna stop people, but those are simple things you can do. Photoshop is good with this. I don't know of other sites. You can also try Exif tool. I haven't tried it before, but I've heard of it. And then you can also Google to see if what other kind of websites are out there that could help you. Another one is simply doing add copyright or license notes to your images, to your website, anything you can think of where you upload your art. You can simply add a disclaimer of sorts saying no AI use. This artist do not support AI use. You're prohibited. If anybody want permission, please request to ask or email me at or whatever. And you can simply add those simple things to all the social platforms you're on. If you actually want to register it, you can do that online, and you have to just look into whatever country you are and see what their requirements are. Usually you do have to pay money, and so that's not normally something that I think a lot of artists do, and especially if you're a professional, like a really professional artist. I would suggest doing something like that, especially if this is like your life, you're a full-time artist and stuff like that, and there's certain things that you do not want to get stolen. Copyright your stuff much as possible if you can afford it, and just like add in a message and stuff like that to your websites, to anything that that you are using to as your portfolio or anything like that. make sure to always add some kind of license note or something like that, just for the sake of like not getting your art stolen or people taking your thing. Even if you cannot afford a license with the government, your intention goes a long way to prevent art theft. Another way that you could do it is to upload on platforms that respect artists. Now, I know that like everybody wants to upload on like all the trendy social media apps out there, social media platforms, but your best interest is always more important, you know. And I will say again, if you're going to upload onto popular websites, you just definitely have to do a lot to just try and deter people from stealing your art. Pick platforms to upload your art that you know that respects artists. You can look at DeviantArt or ArtStation, like art websites that allow you to block AI in their settings. I think DeviantArt does have something like that, but I'm not really sure exactly where it is. You can look into the settings and set for it to suppress the AI art from showing up on your thing. So you're trying to rotate your art into more of the creative community that you want it to be, and not just be filtered in with all of the AI art. Do you understand? Because yeah, we're not trying to do that. You definitely want to be able to try and separate yourself as much as possible. And ArtStation, I think, also has something in their settings. You can look at websites that can give you the autonomy for you to have some kind of control about your art or like what you see. That's very important. Another one that you could do is protect images on your website. Now, in the ways that you could do this is similar to what I was saying about DeviantArt, is that you can use websites that allow you to do coding of sorts, or like go on websites that allow you to integrate tools that help you to allow people to not just simply just right click and save your images. Like there are different websites you can go on, like Wix is one. Wix allow you to do right click protection, and that's something that you can look into. If you have your website on Wix, you could look into that. WordPress is another one, allows you to have content copy protection. You could look into that as well. There are a few more, and I'm pretty sure you should always do your research, because honestly I don't know all of them, but those are the certain things you can look into about like what could you do that could avoid people from the simple right clicking and saving your artwork. Custom HTML or JavaScript code, if you have any kind of knowledge of those things, or if you know, maybe you can just Google it, maybe even ask ChatGPT what kind of code it is that you can use to deter from people using right clicking and just saving your images. Also, something else is that you could do something maybe that can prohibit print screen from happening, because again, print screening comes in handy for a lot of things, but you don't want it your artwork to be so easy to be stolen that people can right click or just simply print screen it. And there are a lot of cases where there are certain websites you go on and you realize that, hey, you can't print screen or you can't right click, and there's a certain type of code that they have that prevents that from happening. And that's something you can also look into. I don't know if there are particular websites for that, possibly, and that's something you should definitely look into as well. And some of the obvious things that you could probably do is be smart about when you're using social media to upload your art. Like, so for instance, you don't upload high quality images, you upload low quality images, then you link them to your website or link them to somewhere that it's more secure, that you can have more control of, instead of just blatantly giving these people high risk images of your artwork. Like, it's great, I understand you work so hard on it and you want your artwork to be shown and to seen in this perfect detail, but in this day and age I would suggest not doing that. Just it's always better to just protect yourself, because at the end of the day, majority of people literally just click on your artwork, look at it for like a few seconds, and then move on with their lives. So you don't waste the time of putting like high quality work on like an open website where anybody can steal your stuff. Better you do a low resolution, because that way it's harder for it to be stolen. Maybe share your artwork in terms of like a video clip, a video process. That way it's harder for them to steal the actual finished product. And that way, I mean, you can just also use it as a way to get more content. But you could always do the video, then link to your video, link your video to your original art piece on your website, maybe a social platform that you actually really like. something that you can control, I would suggest doing that way, because at least you will have everything in one spot, and it's better that way in my opinion. So, and if possible, you can turn off download or share on that platform that you're on. They don't always offer you that option, but you could try look into, even though sharing is very important, because sharing does boost your content in the algorithm, everything like that. But again, it's just one of those things, right? You just kind of like gambling 50-50. But like again, there's so many other things that you can do. um Another one is that you can use AI to fight AI, like AI blocking tools. There's a website called Nightshade, and they basically poison the data of which, if somebody wants to steal your art and upload somewhere, AI have a hard time trying to scrape that information. So you can try Nightshade. I think you have to download it, and like there's a whole instruction about how to do it. It might be a bit overwhelming, but honestly, it's just a peace of mind that you really want to be able to protect yourself. So Nightshade or Glaze is another one. I don't know if they have other websites, but those are the two main ones that I know of. You can also look into Artshield. That's another website, and a majority of these websites like Artshield, they can allow like invisible watermarks. So like watermark you can't see personally, but like AI can see the watermark. Especially if it's something that's repeated in the watermark and stuff like that, that's definitely something that will allow the AI to kind of like be deterred or prevent them from like actually scraping your artwork. Again, won't possibly stop them, but those are just simple things again that you could do. You can look into scrambling, just like Nightshade, where you just kind of like scrambling the image, doing small things on the images that kind of deter the AI from like trying to scrape your artwork. From what I've seen, they are free. I haven't fully used all of them yet, because honestly it can be overwhelming and you don't really want to just keep like trying to add so many things and you don't really understand what you're doing. So I was just picking one or two and just see how it goes. The most important thing is always keep track of your artwork. Like, I understand it's so hard. There's so many social media apps and platforms that you want to upload all your art, and sometimes it can get away from you. So if you want, you can always use websites. There's a website called tinyeye.com, and it also helps you to upload your artwork for you to find like copies of your artwork online, and that way you can address the situation of having it getting taken down or something, but at least you know where your artworks are. There's another one called Pixie that you can look into that helps to find stolen artwork and to remove them. But I also just making a checklist of all of the social platforms that you do use, and just see like where you upload your art. Like, keep track of your stuff, right? Even a watermark, I know the watermark can be overwhelming, but even though there's so many different ways of doing it, you can really dictate how the way you want to and the control, and I think that's very important. And then the most important one, in my opinion, too, is to talk to your fans, to your friends, your family, your clients, everyone that say that they support art and they're not doing their part. You need to talk to them, because sometimes it's a matter of just like ignorance. They don't fully understand what is happening. They don't understand that simply them just copy and pasting the artwork on like Facebook or something like that with no credit on it does a lot to hurt the community and the artist, right? Because then the artist is not getting sale, they're not getting recognition for what they did. Nobody knows where it's from, and again, it's just in the internet abyss. So I would suggest definitely talking to your family and friends, letting them understand like, hey, you know, it's great that you find these AI things really cool, but also explain to them why it's important that you do not want, like not to fall into the AI rabbit hole, because these things are all cool until you realize that they can be very harmful. Everything in large doses is always pretty harmful, so it's just a matter of just protecting yourself and just educating those around you, especially clients, they're not obligated to you, and I understand that, but you can do other things to deter them as well. And that is also a package that I will be having It's going to be in the description below. You can buy it, and it's simply watermarks, copyright, simple copyright template and stuff like that. You can simply add to your own personal drafts and stuff like that you give to clients. I made it easy. You can add your name and date, etc. But those things are just definitely just very much more important, because in this day and age, like there was a case recently with an artist. Client took her work, her draft, and basically just uploaded an AI without her permission and created the artwork. Not even the one, and not even her style. It was very disrespectful. And we're really trying to educate these people. And some people are assholes. We're not gonna be able to like change everybody's mind on it, and that's fine. That's okay. But we need as a community to come together and to have each other's back. And that's why I'm making this. Okay. And I'm an artist myself, right? So everything I do, I have to really consider how it's going to affect me and ways in which I can go about in like supporting myself, especially in this era. So that's one thing you just really have to consider, and just really go out there and support each other, guys. Like, it's really important, especially now. And just remember to always do your research. All this information that I just shared are just simple things that I found on from experience, and also Googling, and my own personal uh struggles of like trying not to get my art stolen. So those are things you can really look into. Remember, this copyright your work, watermark it, do everything you can possible to prevent art theft. It doesn't matter how stupid or silly you think your artwork is. Trust me, it doesn't matter to these people who are stealing stuff or AI. It doesn't matter to them. Every little thing that you do is a part of your character. It's a part of your personality, and those are things that are being stolen. Okay, was stolen without your consent, and that is something that definitely needs to be like regulated. And since there's no policies in place, we as a community, we need to come together and do more, right? And if there are people who support you as an artist, please encourage them. Please encourage and enlighten them. Share your wisdom and explain to them why AI is harmful to artists in the way that it is. Like, they're seeing it now, how much more um, effective it is in terms of how it's like disrupting the workforce and stuff like that. But in terms of art, like, we are kind of the mouthpiece for history, and I think it's very important for us to be able to make it known how important it is that we have our art not stolen, have our art protected. It's a time of history that we tell the type of artwork that we do and keep art human. Thank you again. If you enjoyed this video and you want more, let me know. If you like to support me, you can subscribe to my YouTube. Check out my other social media platforms. I will have a PDF file with the information in the description below. I will also have ready-made watermarks for those who are interested in buying and purchasing from me. These all goes to support me as well as a full-time artist. So please check it out. Check out my art. Follow me on social media. Like, we can follow each other. Let's share art. Let's try and do what we can possible to make art be safe. Make it be a safe community, not for like AI to come and take our art. And there's nothing wrong. Don't be afraid to use AI as well. You can use it as maybe look at brainstorming ideas and stuff like that. Even if it's not original ideas, the idea is that you can use it as an assistant to help you in different ways, even with writing your own copyright information. So don't be scared, like, it's there. Use it as what is a tool and an assistant. Okay. Apart from that, do your best, do what you can to educate yourself and share this with everybody. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye.